You ever like listen to somebody and try to ask somebody a question and they don't understand what the hell you're talking about? Well, I was watching MSNBC and they were talking to one of the Stop Trump people, and this guy was asked a question as far as Indiana's concerned. Donald Trump right now is leading Indiana by 6 points, and Kassich and Cruz obviously are below him. But if you add up their support gives them about 52, 53 percentage of the vote, which would be more than enough to defeat Donald Trump. The representative from the Stop Trump group is asked a question, and it just seemed to me like he didn't understand plain English, because the question was, which one of these guys do you guys want to throw your support behind? Because if you add the two numbers up, they beat Trump, but since they're splitting the vote, Trump is going to win the majority of the delegates from Indiana. And this guy kept going back to the floor fight, and he just didn't understand plain English. If one of the guys isn't there and all of his votes go to the other guy beats Trump, which is exactly what the Stop Trump movement guys want to do. And this guy just couldn't figure it out. So I want to play this clip so that you can see for yourself. Some of these Republicans are just batshit stupid.
Those unbound delegates. Well, let's turn to the big board here and show you just how important they can be. Now, keep in mind, one of the key things here is a lot of those unbound delegates, a lot of the ones on that list Jacob was just showing you, what they're pledging is they will vote at the convention. They're saying right now, at least, they will vote at the convention for whoever wins either the statewide primary in Pennsylvania or whoever carries their congressional district in Pennsylvania. And, of course, Donald Trump, the polls are showing right now, is well positioned to win statewide and probably most, maybe even on a good day, all of the congressional districts in Pennsylvania. So keep that in mind. Let's run through the rest of the states now. We're going to put these aside right now. These are the 54 unbound. We'll come back to them at the end of this, but let me give you the rest of the map here, sort of a scenario without the unbound delegates. So remember, 1237, that's the number Trump needs to break. Now, he's going to come into this Tuesday, according to NBC News' estimate, with 845. He looks good to win the 17 statewide you get in Pennsylvania. Let's say he can get the heart of the bulk of Maryland's there. Delaware's winner take all. Connecticut looks good. Rhode Island looks good. He could get 100. He could add 100 to his total this coming Tuesday. Again, we're putting the unbound aside for right now. So let's say Trump gets out of next week, gets out of April with 945. Let's take a look at what is to come. These are all the states that are left. He's trying to get to 1237. He'd come into May with 945. First up, Indiana. This looks like a toss-up. This is a state Trump could win, but let's say he falls short. There's a big price to pay if you fall even a few points short. That's the way they give out the delegates there. Let's say he falls a few points short, only gets 6 delegates out of that state. That is possible if you lose. Then you're at 951 if you're Trump. What else is to come in the month of May? He's going to do very well, we think, in West Virginia. These two states, Washington, Oregon, they're proportional. He can get some delegates out of there, maybe 64 between those states. So he could end May with what? With 1015. Okay, then 1 day left. Also, Nebraska's a winner-take-all. Looks like a Cruz state. That's in May. Then 1 day left for the rest of these states. Well, these are winner-take-all states that look like Cruz states. This is winner-take-all. New Jersey looks like Trump. This is proportional. Trump could get some there. And California knows the big wild card. It's basically by congressional district. Let's say Trump got 120 out of California, proportional out of New Mexico, and got the winner-take-all in New Jersey. Where would that take it? It would take him to about 1197. And you look at that 1197, you say, he's short. He didn't hit the magic number. We got the open convention. We got the contested convention. He's 40 short. But remember, we put him aside. The
short.
Unbound delegates from Pennsylvania. Donald Trump gets through that whole process. He loses Indiana. He's 40 short. But if he wins Pennsylvania on Tuesday, if he wins it big, if he wins most of those congressional districts, and those unbound delegates who right now are saying we will honor the will of the voters in our state, the will of the voters in our district, if 40 of those 54 stick to that word and go with Donald Trump, He's got the numbers because 1197, you add 40 to that, and what do you have? 1237. Donald Trump would hit the magic number. This is a critical block of delegates whenever you talk about 1237. So keep that in mind on Tuesday. Two different elections there in Pennsylvania. Let me catch my breath after that. That is the situation with the map and the math. Let's turn back now to the Stop Trump movement, a Stop Trump movement that may be hitting some speed bumps here. Outside groups airing ads against Trump spent no money in New York. Trump, of course, rolled there. They spent just $19,000 in next week's contest. Trump expected to do well there. And now this new poll, Indiana. This is a key state for the Stop Trump movement. Trump up 6 points there right now. The Never Trump folks have also found little support from Republican Party Chairman Reince Priebus. He spoke to party leaders in Florida today, urging the warring factions to come together.
It is essential to victory in November that we all support our candidate. This goes for everyone, whether you're a county party chairman, an RNC member, or a presidential candidate. Politics is a team sport. And we can't win unless we rally around whoever becomes our nominee.
Hey, I'm joined now by Ken Blackwell. He's the senior advisor to the most prominent anti-Trump group, Our Principles PAC. They're out with a new memo today addressed to members of the RNC. That memo reads, quote, "It is not too late. As Republican leaders, it is critical that you do everything in your power to prevent Donald Trump from being our party's standard bearer." Ken,
if this guy is a senior advisor, that is reason enough that the Stop Trump movement will fail, because this guy doesn't understand plain English.
For taking a few minutes. So you say it's not too late. Let me ask you, here's a dilemma for a Republican voter out there who's watching this and is saying, okay, I'm not nuts about Trump. I don't want him to be the nominee. I want to stop him. There are two opponents for Donald Trump still in this race, Kassich, Cruz. What do you tell that Republican who wants to stop Donald Trump? Which one of them should they be voting for?
All right, because now this guy just saw all that information that Kornacki just put out there. So the question is, the number of votes together will exceed Trump in Indiana. So he's asking him, which one? Do you want everybody to vote for Cruz, or do you want everybody to vote for Kassich? Okay, the combined vote, you know, if one of the guys gets all of the votes that were formerly going to each of the two guys, that one guy by himself, alone in that race against Trump, would win, which would deny Trump a bunch of those delegates, which would make his job a hell of a lot easier. This guy doesn't understand the question. Watch this.
I tell him to keep his eyes and ears on the convention, and in fact make a decision after the party activists and the party leaders make a decision on the floor of the convention. Look,
He didn't understand the question. Jesus.
You misrepresented the Our Principles effort here. The fact of the matter is that what we want to do is to force an issue of having an open and contested convention. The only way that you do that is by making sure that Donald Trump does not get to 1237.
All right, now here's his second shot at it, because the only way Trump doesn't get to 1237 is if you deny him delegates, which means you don't want to allow him to win Indiana. Kornacki's going to try to explain it to him again.
Ken, I understand that point, and that's the purpose of my question. We just put that poll up from Indiana. Donald Trump right now would win Indiana if that poll's right with just 37% of the vote. And with that, he would take the lion's share of those 57 delegates, which would put him on a great path to hit 1237. So I'm saying look at second place there, Ted Cruz. Look at John Kasich. You add those two together. If you do that, you beat Donald Trump. But right now it's divided. So I'm saying from a basic strategic standpoint here, if your interest is stopping Donald Trump from getting 1237, who should they be voting for?
Let me work you back. One, the 54 unbound delegates in Pennsylvania, they are still in play. Information will continue to come over the counter to those folks right up until the convention floor. They in fact have to pull the lever, punch the card, raise their hand for a standard bearer that can win.
Okay, he missed the boat again because there have been numerous reports that the majority of those 54 unbound delegates have indicated that they are going to follow the will of the people in their individual districts. So if Trump wins their district, they're going to pull the lever for Trump. But he's putting the cart before the horse. Karnacki is asking him about specifically pledged delegates in Indiana. And before those unpledged delegates get to the convention, the Indiana delegates are going to be decided, and that's where he's going. And this guy just doesn't seem to understand it, and he looks like he's getting ready to get belligerent.
Reality is this. At the end of the day, this is going to play out all the way through California. If, in fact, Trump pulls a rabbit out of the hat and gets to 1237 or more, he's the nominee. But I don't think he's going to get there, which means that this is going to be in the hands of the folks.
But isn't the divided opposition, Cruz and Kasich? You got Cruz left Wisconsin saying, that's the game changer. Kasich should get out of the way. I'm the main alternative. Now we just saw Kasich beat Cruz for second place in New York, and we see Kasich looks like he's going to beat him for second in most, if not all, the states next week. Then you look at Indiana and you say, the best thing Trump has going for him there is divided opposition.
All right, now this is his third shot at asking a guy who they should back, Cruz or Kasich.
Well, look, and let's say that opposition is not divided when they get to the floor. You know, while in fact it might be hard for some people to imagine, if in fact the way that you stop Trump, you put together a ticket that can win in November, and that is, you know, the two remaining candidates, Cruz and Kasich, all of a sudden you in fact have a ticket.
See, this guy is stupid. He's talking about the floor. Karnacki's talking about stopping it before he gets to the floor by denying him the Indiana votes. This guy sounds like a fucking moron.
These guys are going to be very, very pragmatic once they get to the floor. But you can't have that sort of pragmatism until you get to the floor and have an open, contested convention.
Is that going to be?
Let me, Steve, let me just say this. Yeah. Donald Trump and Paul is a buddy. What they're basically doing is what is the equivalent of Dusty Baker going out to the refs in the fifth inning and say, I want to change the strike zone. That is crazy. The reality is that you have to get to 1237. If you don't get there, it is an open process, and everybody's going to work and play their best game. And I'm just telling you, I think that we have folks who are assembled that can, in fact, work a game that can get us a ticket that's a true standard-bearing ticket for the Republican Party. Here you had Trump this week attack the Republican Party platform. Here you had Trump this week talk about raising taxes. Here you have Trump this week basically continuing his assault against women. This is a contest.
Let me just
we're going to carry it to him.
Okay, but I'm going to ask you one more time here, because I'm looking at, you want to stop him. You're saying it right here. You want to stop him from getting 1237. We just showed the map. If you win Indiana, whoever you are, you're going to get the bulk of those 57 delegates. That's huge in terms of that battle for 1237. Trump is leading in Indiana right now, and it looks like the divided opposition beneath him, split vote between Kasich and Cruz, is a big source of that. So I'm asking you, your interest is getting Trump, denying him 1237 in Indiana. Who should they be going with? Who should the Stop Trump people be lining up with? Is it Cruz or is it Kasich?
Anybody but Trump.
This guy's an idiot. Anybody but Trump. He still doesn't. Has been asked this question 5 times. One guy needs to get that 53% of the vote. And he's been asked 5 times which one should get it, Cruz or Kasich. And he says anybody but Trump? Idiot.
The reality is that Trump is not going to win Indiana. He is not going to win Indiana. The poll is the poll.
You know what? I swear, I got to get this guy's name, which they'll announce it, or I'll pick it up. But I'm going to make sure on Tuesday, if this guy's got any kind of a Twitter account, I'm going to damn sure tweet this asshole and say, oh, I thought Trump wasn't going to win. Because Trump is going to win Indiana. Once he went into Indiana, he got in there. He didn't go to Pennsylvania after New York. He went straight to Indiana, and the new guys that he's got on board are organizing in Indiana. He's going to win Indiana, and you're going to look like a horse's ass.
That's a snapshot in time. He doesn't have a serious ground game in Indiana. He, in fact, is veering away from the issue sentiments of the Republican Party and the conservative movement in Indiana. The reality is what he said about religious liberty this week, what he said about raising taxes this week, that matters. His attack on the very people that have to go out there and win for the Republican Party in November, this guy has been attacking.
All right, Ken Blackwell.
And he, in fact, can't change his stripes.
All right.
He can't change his stripes.
Ken Blackwell with Our Principles PAC. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Ken Blackwell. Unfortunately for you, Trump is changing his stripes, and you are looking like a fucking clown. First of all, you don't understand English, and number two, you don't understand strategy. So how you're the executive director of anything, it makes you wonder about whatever that organization is. You guys are gonna lose.